What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Kari, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Phetish. Two very important things happened back in 1837. The first one is that Phil Knight was born. I'm kidding. Phil Knight's not that old. He was born in 1850. But the second and real thing that happened in 1837 was that Charles Louis Tiffany founded what would later become known as the iconic Tiffany Company. Now, it'd be many years after that and many iterations of many shoes that made us think about the Tiffany Company brand, but today we are taking a look at the second collaboration, that's right, the second collaboration between Nike and Tiffany Company. Without further ado, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Nike and Tiffany Company Air Force One Low 1837. So here it is. It's finally here. The first official sneaker collaboration between Nike and Tiffany Company. Now, like I said before, this is the second collaboration that we've actually seen through Nike and Tiffany Company. I think it's the second. Tiffany Company actually makes a lot of medals and trophies for a lot of different sporting events. And so Nike actually doing the women's marathon, I believe in 2012, and I believe there was another marathon in 2015, women's marathon, I think. They actually made the medals. Tiffany Company actually made these silver dog tag medals that were for the runners of that competition. So Tiffany Company has actually worked with Nike behind the scenes from way back in the day. We just didn't really know much about it unless you were really in the running world. Tiffany Company makes a lot of stuff. They make the Lombardi Trophy for the Super Bowl. But a lot of people really don't know that, but I digress. Let's get back to the shoe. Before we get into the shoe itself, because it seems pretty bland on the surface, but there's actually a lot going on within the shoe. Before we get into the shoe itself, let's get back to the packaging because the packaging is really special. All right, starting with the box here, co-branded box between Tiffany Company and Nike. Now, white swoosh on the lid of the box here. The entire box, of course, is this Tiffany blue. 1837 is not just the year that Tiffany Company was founded, but it also is the Pantone, or the actual color number. If you guys didn't know, colors have a number associated with them. 1837 is the exact Pantone number of what is known as Tiffany blue, which used to be called robin's egg blue. This color is actually trademarked by Tiffany Company and is not available for public use for anybody to use in any other capacity. You might see colors that are similar to this, like the famous Dunk that we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's not going to be exactly Pantone 1837. That exclusively belongs to Tiffany Company. Now, beyond that, you have the orange Nike tag there. Now, I really think this is dope. Right here in the little hole here where you can pull on the box, silver here. Very interesting, of course, Tiffany Company. We're talking about silver. We're talking about sterling silver. When you flip open the box, orange inside of the lid here, Tiffany inside of the lid on the box. Very, very dope. Getting a little deeper into that, special paper. We gotta talk about the special paper because the paper is really, really nice. What you have here is this kind of meshing, this blending of the iconic Air Force One story, blending with the iconic Tiffany Company story. It talks about how Tiffany Company is a silver good that actually started off not in jewelry, but actually more doing like silver fine goods. And a lot of people, as they started transition into jewelry and of course eventually into diamonds, then they became bigger and bigger, more and more famous. And so it kind of talks about the progression of the company, various articles, newspaper clippings, things like that, while also blending with the classic Air Force One campaign, different Air Force One models that are also very iconic, and then getting into all the other elements of the Air Force One, up to and including the Air Force One schematics you see right there, kind of on the corner right there on the end of the paper here. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in the paper here, so very well done. I don't know if the same team that did the paper for the Lost and Found Air Force Ones did this paper, but whoever is compiling these original articles and stuff, great job, you're killing it. These shoes are $400 retail. The question of the day is, are these worth 400 bucks retail? I know you guys want to see all of it. So inside of the box here, underneath that, pure orange in the box here, all Nike here, anti-molding sticker here. Well, that's supposed to be anti-molding. Hopefully none of your pairs have molding on it, but this is really cool too. On the outside of the box here, on the bottom here, this is actually silver and it's actually reflective. All the little Nike Air emblems and all the Beaverton information, it's actually silver and reflective on the bottom of the box here. So that is the box itself. Getting into the shoe. Now I left this other shoe here. This is the left shoe. I left it wrapped up, but each shoe will be individually wrapped in paper here, so you guys will be able to unwrap each sneaker individually, and that's going to give you the shoe right there. Let's get into the shoe. All right, starting with the upper of the shoe here. Again, seemingly there's not a whole lot to talk about, but one thing that we definitely need to talk about are the materials on this shoe. Now, on the upper of the sneaker, you guys see it here, premium, nubuck, suede, whatever people are gonna call it. It's like a premium nubuck material here. You guys can see just how premium it is here when I rub my finger along it. Hopefully the camera is picking up that this thing changes colors. It's smooth, it's buttery, it's premium. It's exactly what you would expect from a $400 collaboration between a luxury brand like Tiffany & Company and Nike. Now, one thing I also want to mention on the upper of the shoe here is that if we turn it a little bit, you guys will actually be able to see that there is premium leather piping on the sides of all of the panels of this shoe, and of course around the toe box as well. So not only are you getting that premium nubuck material here, that really soft buttery material, but you're also going to get premium leather in the piping in between all of the panels on the shoe as well. Very nice. All right, moving up from there, you're going to have the premium Tiffany blue 1837 Pantone swoosh in nice thick tumbled leather here. The leather feels really good on the tumbled swoosh as well. Really nice. Taking a top down look at the shoe here now, again, at first glance, looks just more like the premium materials and whatnot, but when we come up to the tongue here, we actually have this really nice satin tongue. Hopefully you guys can see underneath that there, satin on the tongue. Very, very soft. Again, very premium materials. Now you also have a couple of leather elements on this as well. Now this shoe comes with a standard dude braid down here of this soft premium leather as well. You also have premium leather going up the eyelets on the shoe as well, and that leads up to the premium leather tag with Tiffany on that tag as well. Now FYI, Tiffany is not stitched into that leather. Tiffany is kind of embossed on top of the leather as well, so you know, buyer beware on that one. It is a silver. It does look really nice. I'm not quite sure about the durability of it, but at the same time, again, it's not stitched, it is embossed. On the inside of the shoe in the sock liner, premium leather, once again, wrapping around the sock liner and the interior of the shoe. So it's gonna feel really, really good on the foot. And like I said, this leather is super premium. It's very high quality stuff. Very nice. Let's talk laces on these. So classic black laces here, rope laces on these, thick rope laces on these. You're also going to get your choice of either the 1837 Tiffany blue, the canary yellow laces, or a set of standard white laces. Now, a lot of people's question has been, why the crap are these laces yellow, blue, and white? The blue, okay, we can understand. The white, maybe we can understand. But why the yellow? What's going on with the yellow? This is interesting. Normally I don't talk this much about laces, but let me break down my conspiracy theory about the yellow laces real quick. I think it's a bit of a double entendre. It's no secret that the word Tiffany has been around when it comes to Nike shoes for quite some time. And of course that goes back to the Tiffany Dunk, and it goes back to Nick Terche or Nick Diamond's back to the 2005 release of that iconic SB Dunk, which was a collaboration with his brand Diamond Supply Company, but played off of the Tiffany & Company theme, the aesthetic with that classic alligator skin premium Nike SB with that teal aqua blue inside of it as well. Now, later on for Complex Con, I want to say it was 2019, but don't quote me on that, the Complex Con where the canary yellow Friends and Family Diamond Dunks were supposed to come out. It was one part of a three-part series that Nicky Diamonds came out with to bring back the excitement of the Diamond Dunk. Now, those dunks, if you remember, came in three colors. They came in black, they came in white, and they came in canary yellow. And then each one of those featured, again, a silver swoosh, just like the original, where you could peel off the swoosh and then you got more of that Tiffany blue underneath it. The silver swoosh made it look like that sterling silver. It was very well done, but at the same time, if you want my opinion, the canary yellow, number one, a play off of the canary yellow Diamond Dunk, kind of poking maybe a little bit of Nicky Diamonds, but more importantly than that, those who know the history of Tiffany & Company know that Tiffany's was super famous for two things. Number one, the Tiffany setting. The Tiffany setting transcended what jewelry used to be back in the day, where people used to use a bezel to set their stones inside of, but the Tiffany setting used a 6-prong setting that actually elevated the stone outside of the ring, which made it look a lot more brilliant. Now, the second thing that Tiffany & Company was very famous for was when they discovered a 287.42 carat weight rough canary yellow diamond. Now, when they cut the canary yellow diamond, polished it up, it came to 128.5 carats. Now, that is a whopper of a canary yellow diamond. The diamond is said to be worth around $30 million, and it's only been worn by 4 women, including Audrey Hepburn, who starred as Holly Golightly in the famous movie Breakfast at Tiffany's, Beyonce, and Lady Gaga. So 3 sets of laces, really dope. That's the story, but I believe to be the story behind the canary yellow laces. If you want my opinion, I don't know. It's gonna be between the canary yellow and the Tiffany laces. I do like the Tiffany laces because personally, I do think that an extra pop of that Tiffany blue would look great with this sneaker. I'm more of a classic, more minimalist type person, so I love the color pop of the yellow, and I know if you guys get your hands on these, I'm gonna see some fly outfits with that pop of yellow, but I don't know, man, the Tiffany blue is just chef's kiss. It's really, really nice. All right, moving around to the heel of the shoe here. Now, this is the part that's got everybody talking. You have the classic Tiffany & Company sterling silver piece on the heel tab stitched into the heel of the Tiffany & Company Air Force One. Now, above that, of course, you have the premium leather Nike Air heel tab with the Nike Air stitched into the back in black. But again, that silver pendant, that piece right there, this is what has people really, really talking about it. I took the plastic off of that sterling silver pendant piece there. This right here is a personal pair, actually. This is my personal pair. So I took that plastic off there so you guys can really see the brilliance and the radiance in that silver right there. I mean, it's a beautiful, gorgeous, polished sterling silver. It's so nice. I mean, it's so nice. I barely even want to touch it because I know I'm gonna get fingerprints on it, but it is what it is. This sterling silver piece features the actual indentations, the markings to let you know this is a genuine, authentic Tiffany & Company piece of jewelry here. You have the New York or the NY emblem. You have the T for Tiffany's, and right underneath that, you have 925 with Tiffany & Company. What in the world does 925 mean? 925 basically means that all of Tiffany & Company's high-grade sterling silver is 92.5% actual silver. Now, there are other indicators of quality of silver that this video would go on forever, and I'm not gonna take you guys time to do all that, but if you wanna do your Googles on silver and the properties of silver and why this isn't a higher grade, basically there is a 99% sterling silver, but that silver would be too soft for commercial use. They wouldn't be able to make it hard and to firm it up like this. So what they do is they make a 92.5% sterling silver, and the other 7.5% is an alloy that includes copper. Now, it's rumored that there's rhodium, which is almost like a platinum coating that goes above all of Tiffany & Company sterling silver. I looked around a bit. Some people say it is, some people say it's not, so the jury's still out on that. But if you guys are wondering why in the world this shoe is $400, number one, it's the premium materials. Number two, it's this big hunk of sterling silver from Tiffany & Company on the back of the shoe. This is real silver. I'll get into the price a little bit more, but just so you guys can take a look at the shoe with this silver pendant, this is made to actually represent a Tiffany & Company jewelry box. If you guys have ever purchased a piece of jewelry from Tiffany's or even seen what maybe a ring or something from Tiffany's looks like, the interior of the Tiffany box is all black. The exterior of the Tiffany box is all Tiffany blue. So once you open up the Tiffany box, similar to opening up the shoe box on the Tiffany & Company Air Force One, you have the black, really nice, soft interior cushioning, and then stuck right in the middle of that black interior cushioning, you have your piece, your jewelry piece here. It might be your earrings, it might be a ring. Tiffany & Company, of course, is very famous for their really elaborate, gorgeous engagement rings, but you have that jewelry there stuck right in the midst of that black cushioning. So that is the inspiration behind why this sneaker looks the way that it does. All right, now the midsole and outsole, basic, right? It's an Air Force One basic rubberized outsole and midsole here. Really nice pops of 1837 Pantone Tiffany blue on the outsole. So they did a really good job with that, but really this sneaker is all about from the midsole up. It's about the upper and the accessories of this shoe, and of course the packaging. That's what it's really about. And on the insole, you have the 1837 Pantone Tiffany blue insole here. Feels like leather almost. It's an elevated material. It's nice with that silver reflective Nike Air on the heel. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Tiffany & Company Air Force One sneaker. So like I said, this sneaker, it's iconic. Now this sneaker is actually going to be a part of a really dope collaboration that actually includes some accessory pieces. Now those accessory pieces feature a dubray, so you guys can swap out the leather dubray with a sterling silver Tiffany & Company official dubray. It comes with a sterling silver toothbrush, similar to the color of the month, how it came with the toothbrushes. You know, it's kind of the iconic Nike thing there to include toothbrushes with the more elevated versions of the Air Force One. It also includes a whistle, which Tiffany & Company already sells a whistle, so I don't really think that more so has to do with Nike and the Air Force One. I think that in the New York Times, which is where kind of the first ads came out when they started talking about the accessories, I think they found a way to kind of weave it in with everything else. But to me, they kind of missed me with the whistle. And then finally, they have an official Nike and Tiffany & Company shoehorn, which is really, really dope. The shoehorn is really fly. If you guys don't use shoehorns, you should. It could kind of help save the back of your shoe here, but that'll be used, of course, to help slide your foot into the shoe a little better. And of course, that is also sterling silver. Now, the accessories, from what I understand, will range in price between like 200 bucks up to like 450 bucks. What I'm guessing is that it has to do with which pieces have more silver. So the toothbrush and the shoehorn probably will be more of that $400 range. The Dubré will probably be somewhere around that 200 to 250 range. So if you're looking to get the accessories to add on to the shoe, feel free to do that. I'd love to see you guys rock that as well. Personally, I like the Dubré. I'm not really needing anything else, but I might actually go for that Dubré. That Dubré looks pretty fly. But that's pretty much it about the shoe, man. Listen, this is an iconic collaboration that was a long time coming. I think that Tiffany saw what was being done with Diamond Supply and they said, enough is enough. It's time for us to do an official collaboration and really do something that's more elevated. So I guess my final thoughts about these. Number one, I really wish that they had included Nikki Diamonds in this campaign in some kind of a way. Now, I understand that sometimes some collaborative companies that Nike does sneakers and it kind of mimics something that they have copyrighted, they're not really happy about that. I'm thinking about the Freddy Krueger dunks, right? Like that shoe got canceled when Nike got sued or cease and desist or whatever it was from New Line Cinema, who was making the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and that shoe never officially came out. Maybe Tiffany & Company saw how popular the Tiffany Dunk was and they didn't like what Diamond Supply was doing, especially because Diamond Supply uses this aqua blue color that's very close to the actual 1837 Pantone. So maybe Tiffany feels like this is them kind of knocking off our elite brand, and when it comes to designer brands, they really don't like being knocked off like that. So maybe because Nikki found a way to get around it, similar to what they did with DQM, Dave's Quality Meats, which still kind of sucks, they kind of didn't include the person that actually made that sneaker or that color really hot for the community. I'm not a fan of that. I really wish that they had have let Nikki do something with this shoe and with its rollout, but it's Tiffany & Company, and I get it. Skateboarding isn't always having to do with the elite clientele of a Tiffany & Company, which leads me kind of to my next thought. Who in the world is this shoe actually for? Sneakerheads tend to think that everything is for us. We tend to look at every sneaker like every shoe is designed for us. The people that are going for general release Air Jordans and everything else that's coming out. But newsflash to my sneakerheads, everything is not for us. The Tiffany & Company Air Force One is not for everybody. If you want my opinion, I really think that this is actually for the elevated consumer. This is for the person that shops at Tiffany & Company and they have bought things from Tiffany & Company before, and now Tiffany & Company can go to their VIP clientele and say, hey, we've got this shoe coming out with Nike. Maybe you would like it, maybe your kids would like it or something, but I think it's more for that consumer, not as much for the general, just regular consumer. And we have to remember that, guys, not every shoe that comes out is for everybody. So a lot of people call these lazy. I get it, but for the people that like the simplicity and the elegance of Tiffany & Company, this is probably gonna be right up their alley. We saw that point really driven home with the Carmelo Anthony ad when we actually saw him wearing a tuxedo with a pair of the Tiffany & Company Air Force One. So to me, that was the two brands really driving that point home. Like, this is who this is for. This is how this is made to be worn. But we're us, so we're gonna wear it however we wanna wear it. I mean, even LeBron wore a really dope custom jacket with some jeans or something like that, or some slacks. Like, he didn't wear a tuxedo with these. So you can obviously dress these up or dress these down however you see fit. But in terms of thinking from a brand perspective, that's personally what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is more for the elevated consumer. These are for the people that bought the Dior Air Jordan 1s. And so that kind of brings me maybe to my last point here, which is designer collaborations with sneaker companies. We've seen Prada, we've seen Balenciaga, we've seen Gucci with Adidas, we've seen Dior with Nike, we've seen even Jacquemus do something with Nike, and he's a high fashion designer as well. So seeing Tiffany & Company, another elevated designer, high fashion brand teaming up with Nike, it's not new. We've seen this before. And to me, that's why the price personally makes sense. Not only are you combining the immaculate quality of this sneaker, the premium materials, the real sterling silver Tiffany & Company pendant on the back of the shoe, but you're also including the brand experience itself. Tiffany & Company is a brand that is associated with expensive, high quality jewelry and things like that, right? So with that, that's why the collaborations that Tiffany & Company has been doing lately, maybe they've been trying to reach a little different demographic. graphic. I'm not quite sure. They did do the Mitchell and Ness collab recently for the Super Bowl as well. That was cool. But again, $400 for this sneaker to me is a bargain. If you want my opinion, what I personally would have done is probably made this shoe $500 and I would have included the sterling silver Dubrays with it. That's what I personally would have done. But they decided to go $100 cheaper and offer the Dubray as an optional accessory. I'm not mad at it either way, but for what you get, especially if you're familiar with the Tiffany & Company brand, I don't see anything wrong with the price. I mean, we didn't see anything wrong with the Dior's being $2,000 a pair for the highs or for the lows. Why is $400 such a problem for the Tiffany & Company Air Force One? I don't get it. And the resale prices are through the roof on this shoe right now. So clearly there's a lot of demand on the shoe as well. And so for Nike to understand that part of it as well, why not price this shoe at $400? It makes sense to me. This video has gone on way too long, but I'll just wrap this up by saying this is one for the history books. This is a really fly sneaker. This is a great looking shoe. This is gonna look great on feet. I'm really interested to see what you guys do with it. And of course, I'm really interested to see you guys' opinions of it now that you've seen an in-depth look and gotten some history about the brand and what I believe is the inspiration behind this collaboration. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the Tiffany & Company Air Force One 1837. Now these are due to drop March the 7th. Big shout out once again to Stash. They are the ones that actually provided the off-white pine green Air Force One mid, and they also provided these. This is a part of the video. If you guys are still here with me, number one, click that subscribe button. Number two, here's how you can get your hands on these. These are gonna be extremely difficult to get, but because you're on this video, I'm gonna give you the goods. Stash is one of the retailers, one of the few retailers that's going to be having these, and they have a raffle that's gonna be opening up on March the 3rd. It's gonna be a very quick raffle. It's not gonna be super long. It's gonna pretty much just be over the weekend. Raffle opens up on these March the 3rd for you to enter to win a chance to be able to purchase this shoe. The raffle's gonna close, I believe, around the 7th. The sneaker release is officially on the 7th. So good luck if you're trying to get your hands on these. These are going to be raffled through Tiffany's. These are also going to be a draw on the Sneakers app and through a few very select boutiques and retailers that are getting their hands on these. But I'm not gonna lie, I've seen the resellers already having their hands on these, charging a lot of money for them. So if you're trying to get your hands on a pair of these, that's how you can get them. Big shout out once again to Stash for providing this pair. Hopefully you guys are able to get your hands on a pair of them. And in the meantime, I would love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. Let me know. Of course, right down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you, as crazy as these are, I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Nike and Tiffany & Company Air Force One Low 1837, due to drop March the 7th. And until next time, I'm out.